A bank heist, a secret life, and a confession from a dying man. It may sound like the plot to the latest flick to drop on a streaming service, but this is a real-life mystery filled with a half-century of twist. A woman grew up thinking her dad was the typical suburban father in a polo shirt and a baseball cap, but it turns out he was hiding a complex and criminal past.
Ashley Randall says her dad Tom provided for his family by working as a car salesman in a Boston suburb. He donated to local police charities and spent hours watching crime shows.
But Tom left a secret back in Cleveland. Reporter Jen Pachano unravels the mystery of Ted Conrad.
My dad said, ladies, just in case it ever comes up, when I moved here, I had to change my name. The authorities are probably still looking for me. And I just wanted you to know that in case it ever comes up. And then we went right back to watching NCIS.
Ashley Randall found out her father, Tom Randall, who seemed by all accounts to be a normal suburban dad, was really Ted Conrad, one of the most wanted men in Cleveland. Fearing he only had a few weeks to live, he confessed to having changed his name because he was a fugitive. Conrad, a 20-year-old vault teller at Society National Bank in 1969, was the man behind one of Cleveland's coldest cases.
Conrad went into the bank with a paper bag, took $215,000 out, put a carton of cigarettes and I believe a bottle of whiskey on top of that bag and walked out the door and was never seen again.
Conrad stole the equivalent of nearly $2 million in today's money, and he went more than 50 years undetected.
Throughout the years, we put him on Unsolved Mysteries, America's Most Wanted. Nothing was ever coming together, over all those years. We always imagined Conrad would be on an island somewhere with fast cars, with lots of money, with gold, and, it turned out to be the total opposite.
Shortly after he died, someone sent Tom Randall's obituary to U.S. Marshal Pete Elliott here in Cleveland, and they picked up on the similarities between Tom and Ted.
People lie, they lie close to home. It's never failed.
In the years after his death, Conrad's daughter Ashley has tried to uncover who her father was before he was Tom Randall and why he committed such an infamous bank job. Many believe he was inspired by the movie The Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah, I think Google was my best friend. There were, thankfully or not, just pages and pages of articles written over the past 50 years. I mean, some as recent, I think, was in the past decade, about law enforcement going to a high school reunion of dads to see if he would show up.
We brought her from her home in Boston to Cleveland to walk in her father's footsteps. So coming here to Cleveland, what were you hoping to get out of your visit here?
I think mostly I was hoping to feel like I got to know my dad a little more.
Wanting to feel closer to her dad and his past. She walked the halls of Lakewood High School, visited the home where he lived with his family and the apartment he fled from, and we brought her to the scene of the crime, inside the bank.
And what was most shocking was that where I felt that the most was at the bank, where he worked and where he stole the money.
Society National Bank is now Key Bank, but the insides are original, dating back to 1890. The pillars, the teller stands inside, and the vault.
That walking in there and walking down the steps to the vault, it was oddly comforting to know that this is where my dad spent a lot of his time.
But this crime wasn't the only thing he kept from his family.
Honestly, the worst secret he's kept for me is not even the secret of him being a fugitive.
Reporter Jen Pachano joins us now. Jen, so many questions. First of all, what happened to the money?
No one is certain. There are some theories about him losing all of it to bad investments in the early 70s, but the money was taken back before transactions were traced electronically. We do know there was nothing left when he died.
Do you know who led U.S. Marshals to the obit for Tom Randall?
We do not, and not for lack of trying. U.S. Marshal Elliott says he's going to take that secret to his grave, and perhaps when the tipster dies, they too will make a deathbed confession.
Jen, was Ted Conrad a suspect in any other crimes?
No, Ted Conrad was never a suspect in any other crimes, and neither was Tom Randall. After that one bank job, he led a totally pedestrian life.
Can you imagine one of your parents breaking that news on you?
I cannot. And we all know that our parents had lives, before we
Yeah.
came into the world, but that one was shocking.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know. How about that? All right, you can learn more about Ted Conrad and his hidden past on the true crime podcast, Dark Side of the Land. Just go to investigatetv.com and type Ted Conrad in the search bar.